All right, welcome everybody. My name is Brittany Hayes. I am your Ambassador Diamond Upline. If you are on tonight and this is your first Zoom, thank you so much for being on. We're so excited to have you on the team. So excited for you to learn tonight from Ashley. Ashley Wallace is a brand new Emerald leader, and she has been with It Works for Ashley. You can correct me if I'm wrong, like right over a year, right? I'll let you tell your story in a second.
2 years.
2 years. How has it been 2 years? Time has just flown. I literally thought it was like a year ago.
Yeah.
I knew I lived in Florida when you reached out to me. I actually remember when you signed up, I was at the tennis court in my neighborhood. I've lived here for 3 years. So for some reason, I was thinking it was a year ago, but I was literally at the tennis court in my neighborhood when she texted me and wanted to join. She like signed up on the spot. And I remember just being so excited because I just like a little like few conversation going back and forth with her. I knew she was going to be so loyal and so dedicated to this business. And that is literally the epitome of Ashley. Like any of you guys on here who know her know she always shows up. She's always such a positive light, always sharing tips in the team chat, cheering people on. Like she's not just that person that like wants to be cheered on. Like she's absolutely cheering everyone else on too. And it doesn't matter how long it takes her to accomplish something. She always has a good attitude. I don't think I've ever heard her complain. I literally don't think she's ever sent me, I'm her enroller. I don't think she's ever sent me one complaining message. Like she's just, even if like, she thinks she has something in the bag and then she barely misses it, she'll message me on the first of the next month. She's like, all right, here's my chart. I'm going to make it happen. This is my plan. And like, then like she just gives it her all. And that's that. And I was so excited to see her go Emerald last month. She is so deserving. I know she's got diamond in the bag this month, and she's just an incredible leader on this team. She is someone who's just been so consistent and loyal from the beginning. Jordan just said in the chat, the definition of a leader before the title. Yes, 100%. It's funny because when I got started in this business, I heard someone say that rank does not make you a leader. And they said that like there are people that lead better at a lower rank, quote unquote, than some people who are all the way at the top of the company. And I started paying attention after I heard that because I'm like, that's so interesting. Like, why is that? And I started noticing, I think around the time that I really started paying attention was like when my own team was really exploding. I had a Zoom with my 2.0 leaders tonight, and we were talking about this. The month I went triple diamond, which was June of 2017, Fire Tribe grew from like 160 people to like 490 people in 1 week. Like, talk about massive growth, like 160 people, like 490 people in 1 week. And so all of a sudden I remember like my head spinning. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I just went triple. I was so excited. Like that is obviously such an incredible promotion. It's VIP. And like, I'm over here so proud that we have a VIP team in the company. But then I'm like, holy cow, like how do I best lead all these people? And what I started noticing was I saw people who were like executive, Ruby, step up and lead better than like people I knew in the company who were, double, triple diamond, presidential diamond. Like I literally had people on my team who I was like, if they got on a Zoom and no one in the company knew what rank they were, they would have 100% thought they were VIP, but they're like a brand new executive, but they just showed up like ready to serve, ready to lead. And like Ashley, I'm not trying to ramble. I'm going to let Ashley talk in a second, I promise. But Ashley is someone, kind of like what Jordan just said, the definition of a leader before the title, who has always been that person. She's always given her best, always given her all, and always just showed up to lead in the best way she can from the very beginning. And Ashley, I'm just so excited for everyone here for you to hear from you tonight, especially maybe if there's people on here who don't know you that well. So excited they'll get to know you tonight. Why don't you just go ahead and get started and just tell everyone your story?
Hi, everybody. So as Brittany said, I'm Ashley. I live in Virginia. I have been doing this for a little over 2 years now. Started in end of February of 2019. That was just a crazy year. Within 3 months of getting started, my sister had a little boy that we got custody of with 10 hours notice. So kind of just threw everything for a loop, kind of still worked, but not as gung-ho about it, kind of trying to figure out new mama life with an addicted preemie and all that stuff. And then went to conference last year, made that work. And then just kind of caught the vision and promoted to Ruby in April, I believe, of 2020. And then worked all of April, just decided I was tired of constantly barely missing it by, 300, 400 BV each month, that I said, March is it. I'm not going to keep missing it, and just went all out for it. Had the best month I think I've ever had. So it was just super exciting, and I'm ready to just keep on going as far as I can.
I am seriously so proud
Keep
of
it
you,
short.
Ashley. I watched you literally kill it in March, and I remember those last several days, it was like new LC, new LC, new LC, new LC. You just kept like shaving that number down. I remember at one point you messaged me, I think it was like a Friday, and you needed however much. And then you messaged me on Sunday and it was like literally like less than half that. And it was like a pretty significant number. And you had like shaved it down so much in 2 days. And yeah, Megan just said in the chat, yes, you were rolling in the LCs. And I know everyone else was just so inspired in the chats, like the Exploding Emerald chat, especially because you were just shouting out these LCs left and right. And it's funny because I always notice, Ashley, when you're on a roll like that, which you're on a roll a lot, but when you're on a roll like that and you start bringing them in, boom, 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 I will see someone who like, maybe like they're definitely capable of that. Like they've had their moments too, but maybe they'd gotten discouraged thinking their promotion was going to happen. And all of a sudden you see them come in and they're like, you'll see, you'll see. And it's like, it's crazy how that momentum is so contagious. And that's one of the things I love about your energy on this team is you're always spreading that around and like calling people higher, even if you maybe don't realize it at the time. So what kind of going into LCs, obviously we have a lot of people pushing for promotions this month. I know we're going to have more new emeralds, some new diamonds, new doubles, and so on and so forth. What you signed however many LCs, you can tell us how many. You were literally killing it. What are your best tips for bringing in the volume, bringing it in quickly? I think we maybe lost Ashley. Oh no, she's here. Well, no, I think that's her other, says video only. Okay, we'll give her a sec. I'll wait till she pops back on. Someone tell me in the chat if you see her hop back on, or unmute yourself or something, because I'm going to share a couple things real quick about her while I wait for her to get reconnected. But one thing that I'll tell you guys about Ashley. So I told you guys she always is so good about sending her chart at the beginning of every month. Literally, it's not like the 5th of the month. It's not the 10th of the month. Like the first day of the month, every single month, I have a message from Ashley when I wake up in the morning on the 1st with her chart. And she's just so good about that. And I'm going to let her talk about that too after she gives tips for LCs. Thank you, Emily. Because that's one big thing about her. She always knows where she's going. She knows exactly what she needs, where she needs it. Ashley, do you want to go ahead and unmute? I'm not sure when you got cut off, if you heard the question about giving your best tips for LCs.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have internet at my house, so I have to do everything from my phone. So hopefully I don't get cut off again. I did Claire's Dash to Diamond chat, which really focused on doing the KPIs, which I've never really done all of them or really pushed to do all of them. And so I really tried in March to do all of them. There are days I still did not get all of them done. But something that just clicked because, it says get 10 hosts to post up a day was there were days I had 7, 8 LCs that I was signing. And as soon as I would send them their information, I'm asking them to host for me. And they're already super excited because they're getting products that very rarely, if any, said no. So that was what I did for that. And I've been working on growing my network to having a better network because my host to posts have not been hitting on much. I'm having people not respond or message me back or just ghosting me. So I'm just unfriending them. And I got this tip from Amanda, and I'm just unfriending them after they've ghosted me on a host to post message for like 2 or 3 times. And then just that way, because I'm almost at 5,000. So that way I can add more people without hitting the limit. And then that's worked really well and then just getting up a post every couple of days about the giveaway. And then I've started messaging people at night as well. And I just hit some really good networks in March, I guess, that had never heard of the gummies, because that's pretty much what all the customers were in March. So pretty much everybody that I talked to in March jumped in. No questions asked for the gummies right away.
I love that so much. So you're saying gummies you feel like are the quickest turnaround. Like if you're talking to a potential gummy customer, they're going to be the quickest in your e-suite. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it seemed that way. And most of them, I would send the pricing from boards, and then which had the 2 for $69, and I want two all the time. Like I think I only had like 1 or 2 people just go for 1 when we had it on the sale. So it made it easy to upsell, kind of. You're going from 45, what was it? 45 to 60, I think it was. I don't even remember now.
No, I love that. That's so smart. And see, that kind of insight, I feel like is what is so huge. Like if you know that that is your quickest turnaround, like it's the quick, like from the time you start the conversation to the
Mm.
time they're in your e-suite, it's the quickest, then like obviously that's the product you want to go with because it's an easy yes. And like you said, you can upsell. And so I think these are the things we have to pay attention to, because if we see that one product is giving someone pause, maybe they have so many more questions, then like let's go with the faster one. We can always add on to it. So I love that you said that. And love that you're strategic like that. Because and even with what you said, I know you said you got the tip from Amanda, but even deleting someone if they don't, answer after 3 or 4 times, like that's so smart. Because if you are maxed out, you do want to keep growing. And what a practical way to, keep
Mhm.
moving and keep turning those negatives into positive. Okay, so another question I wanted to ask you is, I know you've had, as a leader, like you've had ups and downs with maybe like someone on your team doing really, really well, and then life happens, and maybe they have kind of fallen off for a little bit. Did we lose her again? I think we did. Well, I'll wait to ask my question until she asks back on. Emily, if you want to tell me when you see her hop back on again in the chat.
I'm
um,
back.
Oh, you're back. Okay, sorry. Okay, so the question was, I know that you've had a lot of people on your team who have, maybe they joined and they were on fire, and then life happened and maybe they kind of have fallen off. I have never seen you let that affect you. Like your attitude stays constant, your attitude stays the same. But yet that ironically is something that I know we, as collectively, we hear that from a lot of people where they'll get discouraged. So what is your best tip for anyone on here who maybe that's kind of what they've been letting hold them back, is they feel like their team, has kind of fallen off or hasn't been working, or, whatever the case may be? Like, what would be your best tips about that? Did we lose her again? All right, let's see. I'm like scrolling through, seeing if I see her. Okay, while we're waiting for her to hop on, if anyone has any questions you'd like Ashley to answer, if you want to drop them in the chat, and then we'll get to them at the end of the questions we have if we have time. Um, I guess I'll just continue to brag about her while we're waiting for her to hop on. There you are. I see you. Did you hear the question, Ashley, before you got
I
cut off?
did. Sorry.
Okay.
This is what Zooms are like for me almost every Monday night because we cannot get an internet provider to give us internet. Um, but I still get on them as much as I can. But no, I'm actually kind of going through that now. A couple of girls in March that were doing really well have decided they don't want to continue. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm still going to go do this. And I told the one girl that because she was doing really good. And I straight up told her, I said, that's fine. I said, you're missing out on some money, but I'm still going Emerald this month. And she quit like the middle of the month. I had another girl quit in February. Her sister was diagnosed with cancer, and it just was a lot for her to take in at one time. She's getting married. I said, that's fine. I understand. I'll pray for you, but I'm still going to go Emerald. I said, you can be my Ruby or you can't. It's up to you. I don't let it get to me. I used to be more of one day my husband John just pointed it out and he was like, you're always really negative. And I just flipped a switch and said, no more. And I mean, I still have moments, but I try to just look at the glass half full, not worry about their lives as much as what I need to focus on and what I need to do to get to where we want to go. So I don't pay any attention to it. I brush it right off and go about my day. Probably some of that is from being in law enforcement for so long and having people call me every name in the book. And I'm just like, whatever. It helps you sleep at night. So, I mean, you just got to have a tough skin to some degree as well.
I love that. I love how you said, that's fine. Like, I'll be there for you one way or the other. If you want to be my Ruby, you can. If you don't, you don't. Like, I'm still making it happen. I think that is just such an incredible mindset to have, because the reality is, you guys, is people are people, and people are imperfect, and people get emotional, and people sometimes look at the short-term picture, not the long-term picture. And, at the end of the day, like, we can't control people. We can only control ourselves, and people are imperfect, and they will always let us down in some way. Even the person that admire so much, there's going to be something imperfect they do that they'll disappoint you in some way. There'll be something they do to let you down. And so if you're basing your attitude on whether that person shows up the way you want them to show up, or, fulfills this ideal you have of them, you're always going to get let down. And I just love so much, Ashley, that like that does not matter to you. Like you're still showing up. And, I said in the beginning of the Zoom, how even if Ashley, has perceived her promotion as in the bag 1 month and absolutely is working her tail off to make it happen. But then something happens and she barely misses it. She doesn't let that affect her. When she messages me on the first the next month, she's just as excited as she was at month end. Like she's not at all affected by that. And that, I think that obviously transfers over into how she views if someone quits or, stays. Like she's here no matter what. Like, and that's why on the graphic I said, she plays the long game. Like Ashley 100% is someone that has that long-term picture in her mind. Like she's in it for the long haul. She's not going to get short-sighted and let something temporary cause her to make a permanent decision. And I think so often that's what people do is, there's temporary pain, there's temporary displeasure, there's temporary something that's not fun happening in their business. And they're like, I'm going to make a permanent decision and quit because of this. Even though that emotion really was temporary, it was fleeting. It probably would have been gone in a week. And so that's something that I feel like, even as leaders who would never quit, that's something we can learn from Ashley, like to thicken up that skin and just not take it personally when people quit, because they're going to. And Ashley, I just, the last question I wanted to ask you is, and you've kind of talked about mindset inadvertently in these last questions, but you are someone that I look at as just like always having a consistent mindset, a consistent positive attitude. And I know you've had a lot of trials you've walked through in your personal life with the business, while doing the business, like with, adopting Nolan and everything you guys have been through, but you'd never, ever let it affect you negatively. Even if you could, even if you have more going on than most people, you still stay Ashley, like the Ashley we all know and love. And so what are some things that you do to keep your mind healthy, and to keep yourself, right there where you should be? And then also, what is just your best tips you want to share with everyone, or just anything you want to say to encourage and inspire anyone as far as, having that right mindset going into April?
Yeah, so I think I always think about the fact that we want to adopt Nolan. We have infertility issues, and that's super expensive. Even to adopt him, being my biological nephew, it's still, if the parents fight, we're looking at $50,000-$60,000 to adopt him, and we don't want to go into debt doing that, but we do want to adopt him. So that is my biggest why, is to be able to adopt him. We want him to go to LCA, a private Christian school here, um, and just give him the life that his parents couldn't, or his biological parents couldn't, or that they wouldn't give. So he's definitely my biggest why. Seeing him every day, he's just so happy go lucky and has been very blessed with so far no lasting effects of the drugs. So that's kind of my biggest why, is just watching him and how strong he's had to be since he was born and everything he went through those first couple of months. And then, I mean, I'm like everybody. I have days where I just wake up in a funk and I'm in a bad. I will generally try and find somebody like Emily. I don't know how many times I've messaged her and be like, hey, I just need to rant for a second. And she's like, okay. And then she does it to me and it's like, it's fine. It works. You need to get it off your chest. However, you need to. Some days I yell in my mirror when nobody's home. You know, but I'm in a car for 8 hours a day for the most part. So I always am listening to some sort of audiobook, or podcasts. I'm trying to think, not as many podcasts, but always an audiobook. I'm loving, I think it's Trent Shelton. He's one of my favorites right now. I can get you up. He's definitely phenomenal. Kind of like, trying to think of the other name. I don't know. I just listen to audiobooks pretty much all day, every day. If I'm really in a funk, I will turn on sermons, Christian music, like I have my little car concert and just jam out and try not to let it get to me, because it's literally going to I'm messaging my team going, hey, we're all going to get at least one customer today, whatever we need to do to, or, sharing anything and everything with them that I can, as far as what I'm listening to, if I can share it. I mean, there's so many free audiobooks on Audible now that it's ridiculous. Even YouTube, like some of the best months that I've had, I've listened to oh, I can't think of the one on YouTube that's like 30 minutes long. With the really, it's like 1920s, I want to say. I don't know. Y'all, I know y'all know what it is because
Oh,
you've probably,
Earl Nightingale, Strangest Secrets.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. I listen to that a lot of mornings when I'm in a really bad mood. It works for me. And I usually sign at least a customer every day I listen to it. I don't know why. Um, and then as far as some of my biggest tips, it's don't quit and take can't out of your vocabulary. Like that's one word Nolan has not learned yet. I don't say it. Um, don't plan to. I don't like it. I used to say it all the time back before John pointed out how negative I was. And I was like, you know what? I can't do it. I fuss at my friend's stepdaughter when she throws out the word can't, or she throws out she wants to quit. And I don't listen to those words. They're going to bring you down mentally, even if you don't realize it, just because in and of themselves they're negative words. For me anyways, maybe not everybody else, but I think they're very negative words. They're allowing you to have a negative mindset about whatever it is you're wanting to quit or say you can't do. And then that's probably the biggest tip I have. And I mean, the way I look at it is if I make $20 one month, that's $20 I didn't have, or $30. That's $30 I did not have that I can put towards a bill to help knock it down. So, I mean, that's the least I've made my first month, $24. And I put that towards a bill. And like I said, it's $24 I didn't have, $24 I could use for something. And it's just grown. So that's definitely my biggest tip. And just the Zooms and being a product of the product and host a post. Excuse me, we preach those. They're, talked at you every week. But I mean, most of my customers in March came from host to post. I've never had host to post blow up like that for me. But it was exciting and crazy and hard to keep up with some days. But like I said, it was really exciting. But um, I know the first couple months I was not on Zooms the way I should be. I would let my internet connection on my phone quit, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to bed now, and just called it, quits on the Zoom and wouldn't try to get back on, or I try to get back on once or twice, and then I was done. I didn't get on anymore. And then, I've been very consistent lately on being a product of the product, and it's showing, and people are noticing and wanting information, and that's definitely helping as well. So, all of those are pretty much what I do daily, and just brush all the negativity off because it's just words. What is it? Sticks and stones will hurt you, but words will never break you. Yeah. I mean, it's not my motto, but it's kind of how I live life. You've got to have like I said, a tough skin, just let things roll off you.
I love that so much, Ash. And I love that you're just so transparent about like you look at what you need each morning and you give yourself that. So some mornings, if you're in a really bad funk, you need The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale, which I know most people on here have probably listened to at least a time or two. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but this inspired me, Ashley, to start listening to it again because I had a period where I listened to it so much and I haven't listened to it in a while. When you said that, I'm like, you know what? It's time to start up another 30 days of Earl. But I love how you said you've got audiobooks playing all the time when you're in the car. But if you're feeling really, really down, you're putting on sermons. There is a new series on YouTube by Darius Daniels called Fire Starters, I believe. And it is phenomenal. That's what I've been listening to right now. And I actually took a break from books because I'm like, you know what? I feel like I need something more like Darius Daniels right now. And I'd caught up on all Stephen Furtick stuff. And I was like, what am I going to listen to? And then I saw Darius had this new series that he's actually been releasing midweek. So it's in addition to the Sunday ones. And I'm like, perfect. This will be a good thing to dive into. And so I think that is so important that you're giving yourself what you need in that moment. And knowing yourself enough to know like, okay, this is a day that I'm feeling this way. I'm going to do this tomorrow. I'm going to do, and like just taking each day as it comes, because the reality is that life is going to throw different things at you each day. But if you're always countering it with something positive and countering it with what's going to feed your soul and fill you up and is going to make you feel like, all right, I can handle this. I can get through this. You're going to get through it. And it's just a matter of, overriding whatever those negative emotions are with something more positive. I was talking to someone the other day and we were talking about how like the stronger emotion always wins. Like what you focus on is always going to be what wins. And so if you're in a down mood and then you're around like negative people and you're listening to negative news and reading all the negative news stories, and then you talk to this person and they're in a bad mood, and like before you know it, it's like you don't even know how to pull yourself out of that hole. But if you're in a slightly negative mood, but then you turn on something positive, go talk to a friend that lifts you up. I love, Ashley, how you said you and Emily are so close. That makes me so, so happy, because everyone needs someone they can go to with something going on, can bounce it off of, and that person can listen and validate, but then can like tell them like, it's okay, you've got this though. And that's the definition of a life-giving friendship. And, I think like when you have something going on, when you can counter it with positive interactions like that, it's like before you know it, in an hour or two, you're feeling so much better. Like it's not such a bad morning anymore. And it's really that simple, whether we're going to turn our day around or not. So I love that you were just so transparent about that, Ashley. And I love that like these are just tips anybody can take if they want. Victoria just said in the chat, Jennifer is that person for her. And yes, you guys are another good example. You guys clicked a long time ago and y'all have always been, I've literally watched you guys be like the biggest rock for each other. And again, that just makes me so happy. And I hope that if you're on here, you realize that you have so many people on this team that would love to be that for you. And, you might meet someone that literally just changes your life in more ways than one. That's not even, in your downline or on, on the same leg as you, just because you guys have the right things you can complement each other with. And everyone needs a life-giving friend like that. I don't remember the exact verse in Proverbs, but there's a verse in Proverbs that talks about, how sweet it is to have a friend like that. And a friend that, like, I know there's the one that says iron sharpens iron, but there's another one I can't remember. Jordan, you may know what it is, but it's the one that talks about like the friend that builds up. And I think about that when I think of so many of you guys and like watching how you are for each other. And that just makes me so happy. And Ashley, thank you so much for being on here tonight. We love you so much. We're so, so proud of you. I know that you've inspired so many people to go out and do their best this month to make it happen. No excuses, even with your internet issues and everything, like you're still here. And it's seriously, you're the definition of no excuses, solution minded. Do you have anything else, any final tip or, final word you want to share before we hop off?
Well, I was told reliable would be on my tombstone one day, but
I love it. You are reliable.
Yeah, I would definitely just praying and deciding. And I still have the same affirmations I said all of March hung in my bedroom mirror, and I say them aloud every morning. And then just deciding that those affirmations are going to happen, and then praying about those affirmations daily. Corner of my bed, hands and knees every night.
I love that. Seriously, not a better thing that you can do. Give your business to God, make him your business partner, include him in everything. And if you're anxious, just ask him to take that anxiety from you. Just ask him to take that anxiety and replace it with his perfect peace. And I promise you, like there's nothing else better you could do. I have a friend here, local in Cape Coral. She's on the team, and she's facing some like really big life decisions right now. She's probably going to move out of state, and she's like was talking to me the other day. We were out to dinner, the two of us, and she said, how will I know though what's the right thing to do? And I said, because she was just like telling me, she's like, I'm so stressed, I'm overwhelmed, like I'm overthinking every aspect of my life right now, and I just want to know what to do. I just want it to be clear. And I was like, well, have you asked God for a sign? And she was like, no, I really haven't. I was like, just ask God for a sign. And she was like, okay, well then what? I was like, then just be at peace that he's going to make it clear to you one way or the other. I was like, it might be a big sign with flashing lights, or it might be like a string of subtle signs. But if you ask him to remove that anxiety and to give you a sign and make it clear to you, I was like, I pray. And then you stop worrying about it and you just go forward being the best you can. I was like, I promise you, he'll give it to you. She was like, you really think so? And I was like, yeah, I really think so. And she actually called me tonight with some really good news to share. And this was just literally last Thursday night we went to dinner. Or last Wednesday night. But she called me tonight with some really good news to share. And she's just like, man, she's like, I've literally had the best past several days. I haven't worried at all. I've been feeling great. I'm like, that's how it works though. Like worrying is a choice. Like if we give it over to God and we just let him handle it, like it'll always work out. And I love Ashley so much that you just said that. You get on your knees, you pray over those affirmations, and you just know that it's handled, you know that it's done. So thank you so much, Ashley, for being on. I love you so much. Cannot wait to have you on again next time as a diamond. I know that everyone just is so inspired by you and just got so much away from you tonight. And yeah, I can't wait to see all the other promotions that are going to, come to fruition this month. But I especially cannot wait to see those of you who take these tips that Ashley gave tonight and you use those to solidify your promotion and make it happen all the more. So love you guys. Hope you guys have a good night. Bye guys.